Now, I think that this entire series is very atmospheric. I know I've talked. I forgot how to speak. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with, well, fall. So today we're going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag, and if you were watching this on the day it comes out, it is now officially fall. Today is the first day of fall, and I could not be more excited. I wish the weather where I am knew that, because it is very warm, but here we are. I'm just so ready. I'm manifesting fall. I'm wearing kind of longer sleeves in the hopes that it will get cooler, because I'm gonna need it. I need it to be cooler. So I definitely did this video last year, so I will link that above if you were at all curious if my answers have changed. I feel like some of them definitely didn't. But this is just a fun tag to do at the beginning of fall. Since today is the first day of fall, it felt like the perfect time to do it. So I've always said that my favorite season is like spring to summer. I love the warm weather, but in the last couple of years, I've just become more and more obsessed with the fall. And I think it's my favorite season now. I think I can confidently say that it has now become my favorite season. So, without further ado, let's get into this tag. I cannot remember who originally did this, so if I can find it, I will leave them linked down below. So definitely check that out. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So the very first question is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. I wish that was true right now. Name a book with a vivid setting. So this one's actually perfect for this kind of spooky fall season, because I have the second in the Wayward Children's series, which is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. Now, I would say that this entire series is atmospheric. I know I've said that before, but this one specifically is giving me that fall crisp vibe, because this is kind of like a prequel to the first book. Now, I don't think you really need to read the first one for this one to make sense, so you could read this if you just want a nice dose of atmospheric spookiness. But this is a series that basically follows kids who go through doors, kind of like the kids from Narnia, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, those kind of people who go through doors into another world, and that world is perfect for them. And then sometimes they get spit back out into the world they came from, and there's this home called the Wayward Children's Home, where basically it's full of kids who have gone through doors and had to come back, and they're just kind of waiting for their doors to open again. This one follows two sisters, Jack and Jill, as they go through their door into this perfect world. Now, this perfect world, I kind of envision it as a mixture of kind of like Dracula meets Frankenstein, because like that's kind of these two caretakers of the girls. But it's really fun and spooky, and it's definitely dark because, you know, we've got a vampire and then you've got a mad scientist who are bringing people back to life. So you've got those aspects of it, but it's just really fun and atmospheric, and I love the description of this world. It's called the Moors, and so it's just very dark, and like I don't know if you can tell how barren it is from like this picture, but like that's the vibe it gives. The next one is Nature is Beautiful but Also Dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with heavy topic like loss or grief. I might have used this one last year, but I'm using it again if that is the case. And then it's Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is a book that follows two half-sisters who don't know that they are half-sisters until their father dies at the very beginning of this book in a plane crash. One of them lives in, I believe, New York City, and the other one lives in the Dominican Republic. But we've got this written in verse, like Elizabeth Acevedo is very well known for doing, and her writing is absolutely stunning. And that's just like the way she writes. When she writes prose, it's also very stunning, just kind of very similar to how she writes this. But it does deal with a very, you know, heavy topic of loss and grief, where you've got one sister who's just really sad that their father is gone, and the other one who is sad but also angry at him because he's kept this secret of this other girl. So you've got these topics of, you know, grief and anger just all wrapped up in each other, but it's also written just absolutely beautifully. So if you've never read Elizabeth Acevedo, I highly, highly recommend her. This was the first book I read by her, and I fell head over heels. So very tough subject, but it's stunningly written. The next one is fall is back to school season, so share a nonfiction book that taught you something. Again, I'm not sure if I used this one last year or not, but I'm going to go with Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is her memoir that she wrote a few years ago that I read. I listened to the audiobook of it, and I just feel like we get a very different look at the White House from her eyes. Now, obviously, Barack Obama is a huge part of that, being president and everything, and the reason they're in the White House, so you do get that aspect of it, but it's really focused on her and how, like, she had to live in the White House, and it was really tough at times, but also like the work that she could do, and also watching her husband go through what it is to go through to be the president of the United States. So I think that it is kind of dense because it is written from someone who is just so incredibly smart. So you might have to take it in chunks. I found the audiobook the best way to go because it was like she was telling me her story, and it was easier for me to kind of comprehend what was happening when she was telling me rather than I was reading it. But I absolutely loved this. I will hype this forever. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading it because, like I said, it just gives you such a different look at being in the White House. So the next one is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people that you love. Name a fictional family household friend group that you'd like to be a part of. So I'm going to go with this one, which is the the League of Extraordinary Women series. This is the first one, which is Bringing Down the Duke, and the second one, which is A Rogue of One's Own. It's just this group of 4 women in Oxford, England at the time of the suffragette movement, and they are in the Oxford suffragette chapter. And so we've got two out of 4. The third one came out by the time that you're seeing this, and then the 4th one will come out sometime next year. So I love these 4 friends because not only are they fighting to get women the right to vote, I mean, that's the main point, but there's also so much else they're fighting for. But they also are so supportive of each other whenever they're going through something. They'll like bring it to the group and they'll all kind of talk about it together. They're each other's best friends. They're always there for each other, and yet they are all so different. And they, can appreciate that about each other. Of like, for example, our main character here is very into having the women's the right to vote, but she's also totally fine with being the woman of a household, whereas this one, she's very, headstrong and does not want to do that. But they're like best friends. Their differences make them stronger. So I love this group of women, and I want to be friends with them. I do. They sound so cool. The next one is The Colorful Leaves Are Piling Up on the Ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. So let me get those together real quick. The next one is Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. So this one will make sense if you've read this book, I think. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I read this not too long ago and utterly devoured this book. It got me out of a reading slump. I will love this till the day I die. But I'm also not usually a huge fan of V.E. Schwab's writing, and for some reason this one took me out of that. But that is not the point of this question. The point of this question is the storytelling aspect. So I can't really explain much about it because I feel like it's a huge spoiler near the end, but this follows a girl named Addie LaRue who was born in France in, I don't even know, 1714, or she was around that time. And she basically makes a deal with the devil so that she will be free. And she doesn't really clarify what she means, so this deal ends up being that no one will remember her. So her family has completely forgotten her. If she walks in a room and she sees you and then walks out, you will forget her. If, like, she goes out of your sight, basically. And then it takes place as this dual timeline with as she's figuring out this curse kind of deal that she made, and then also in the present timeline where she meets a guy who remembers her. And it's just stunning, but there's definitely a storytelling aspect to this, and also I feel like this is a good, perfect kind of like beginning of fall read. So if you want something to get you into the fall spirit, but you're not fully there yet, this is a good one to pick up. But also I love it and will hype it forever. So That's my answer. The next one is The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark, creepy read. So I don't read a whole lot of dark, creepy reads. I'm not a huge fan of like horror, but the ones that I would normally recommend, I've done many, many times before, but I just am actually in the middle of this one and I feel like it's perfect, and that is 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison. So this is also a good book to kind of transition you from the spring to the fall, because it is set during the summer. It's set where this girl kind of spends the summer in this big cottage, big mansion that her grandmother owns, but it does have kind of creepy, eerie, unsettling aspects to it. So that's why I think it's perfect if you're kind of wanting to transition from spring to fall. But it follows our main character, Tanya, who can see fairies. And so her mom thinks that she's basically trying to get attention. Like the fairies are breaking things and just kind of like annoying her, and her mom thinks it's her trying to get attention. So she sends her off to her grandmother's house for a couple of weeks, and at this house, she discovers some secrets about her grandmother. She discovers this image, or kind of like the snippet from the newspaper that says this girl has gone missing for 50 years, and then the caretaker's son also is somehow involved. So the two of them, and there's this mystery finding element to it, but like I said, there's this very creepy, unsettling tone to it, and while this is middle grade, it feels like upper middle grade, just because some of the topics that they talk about. But I would definitely recommend this, because like I said, I was very unsettled multiple times while reading this book, and I think it's a perfect transition from summer to fall. The next one is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody on a cold and rainy day. So we're going to go with George by Alex Gino. This one is still just one of my favorites to this day. I love it wholeheartedly. But we follow our main character, George, and she is in 4th grade, and they are putting on the production of Charlotte's Web. They have just read the story in class, and now they're putting it on. However, everyone sees George as a boy, and she knows that she is a girl, and she really wants to be Charlotte. And of course, because everyone sees her as a boy, they won't let her. So it's her story just kind of like dealing with this, but it's perfect for kids who are in elementary school. So I personally love this. I devoured this in like 2 hours, I think, maybe even less. It's very short. It's definitely written for kids as well, so the fonts are quite large, but I think it's a very important read for young readers, and also just very heartwarming. I don't know how to explain how cute the story is. I just love it, and I want to snuggle with George forever. So this one for sure. The next question is fall returns every year. Name an old favorite you'd like to return to. So I'm gonna go with Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, mostly because I just finished Jane in Love not too long ago, like near the end of last month, and in that they're putting on a production of Northanger Abbey, and so it just kind of makes me want to read this again, especially because we get this kind of conversation between Jane and the person who's supposed to be playing Mrs. Allen, who is a character in this, and just that conversation has made me really fascinated to read this again and kind of get a different take on Mrs. Allen. I'm sure many people know about, Jane Austen's work, specifically Northanger Abbey is one of her, I think, last 2 that she published, but it's definitely gothic, so it's perfect for this time of year as well because it's got that gothic tone to it, but it's kind of like Jane Austen making fun of like gothic stories in gothic literature. But it follows our main character, Catherine. She comes from a pretty, not very rich family with multiple children, and her neighbors, the Allens, are going to Bath and invite her to come along. And she's super naive and never been around people before, and so she gets into this town, makes some friends, falls in love, all that fun stuff, goes to a gothic mansion at one point, and is creating a story that's not there. So there's just like a lot to it. But I loved it, and again, I really want to get back into it and just kind of give it a chance because it's been a couple of years. No, it's been at least 4 years since I've read this. So definitely want to give this a shot again at some point soon, just because I've got, those conversations at the forefront of my brain, and I want to kind of see if I can see them. And the next question is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So actually, let me just show you. the last question is to spread the fall love and tag some people. So if you've not done this tag, then I'm going to tag you. But I'm also going to tag my friend Heather from Belle's Library and Teresa from Teresa Love, and anyone else, like I said, who wants to do this tag. It's perfect for the fall time, and I would love to have you share your fall love. Or if you'd like to answer some of the questions in the comments, I would love that as well. But that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this tag. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links and all the questions if you would like to check any of those out. But I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.